Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, this is another episode of the Gamechanger series, and I've got a save that's coming in from Daniel Dimmer. He's managing in Portugal, managing Porto as well. And this is one of those saves that when I go like, do you really need help? Because you're top of the table, played 17 games, drawn one, lost one. I mean, you're on a streak here, eh? So there's you've got, okay, so I see you've got three kinds of tactics here. You got 4-1-2-2-1, 4-2-3-1, and a 4-3, well, basically a 4-3-2-1, 4-2-3-1, and I like to call this basically a 4-5-1. So before we get any further, the year is 2024, so you've definitely had some time to build things up. And I've noticed that your overall balance for a Portuguese club is fantastic. And when I look at your income stream for the last couple of seasons, there's you do quite well in the transfer market. Player sold 235 million. Holy crap! What are you doing? I think you should be doing Gamechanger for me, because seriously, this is a cool, this financially, I think this is one of the coolest saves I've come across. Right, you've done a fantastic job in the transfer market, right? So your transfer history, if we go, I mean, I'm very curious. So let's go at 2017-18. You spent 8.25, 20.25 million out. Next season, 42.70 out. The following season, 220 million in. Holy cow, big spending. First time you've gone in and this does make some sense to a certain extent when you start building up a team. So you went for Julian Draxler, big signing here. Dennis Zakaria, another big signing. And then a couple of 25 millions, and not too bad. And then you let players go at 141 million. I love the way you play. I really do. There is something about the way you play that is pretty cool. And this is one of those videos where people can actually take a leaf from your book, because you make the game so much more easier when you can manage the financial side of it. And to be honest, the AI doesn't do a very good job. So holy cow, 39.97 million. I mean, you're basically you're okay. You're doing a very good job financially because you want to build this club up. I like this because this is when I talk to people about legacy clubs. Look at where you are. I mean, Porto does have the advantage of starting out with very good facilities, but you've gone on and you've kept improving them. That's good, because if you go to the board, right, and you try and make a board request, you know you're not very far away. You got the option to build a new. I think it's because you might be renting the stadium. That's possible. I'm not too sure. Stadium name, Porto, year built, owned by the club. No. Wow, you even have the. Okay, I'm seriously impressed. This is impressive. Okay, I mean, let's go back to your transfer history. We stopped at 2021, right? So 39 for 97, then 26. Holy cow. This is a lot of money. A lot of money. 142 million, and you're smart about the way you play. You use players and then you sell them off for good value. And actually, as a way of doing it, right? So you played you're playing a very sharp game. Okay, so you purchased him for about wait, let's see his transfer. He was already in the club, right? He was already in Porto, so this is a clean profit, 19.97 million. And I hope, and this is something that we should do whenever we sell a player off, offer the transfer value, add that clause in, so that if they ever sell the player off, you get a percentage of the transfer revenue. And financially, man, 85, 137. There's nothing to say about your save. It's just phenomenal, and I fully expect that when I start this save and I begin the save, I'm probably gonna get this, the players on the way out. So here we got Nabil Bentaleb. He's on his way out for 13.75. Julian Draxler is on his way on. Chinese clubs seem okay. They're loading up. Chinese Super League club wants to buy two of your players, and I don't think they're already contractual, so we won't cancel this. We will not do anything to that effect. So in terms of your results, how have you done? Okay, so let's look at the history of the club in competitions. Champions League winners to 2018. Seriously, I don't know why I'm doing this game changer episode here. Primera Liga, look at you. 20, 21, 19, 18. You've been on a streak. 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. The only year, 22. You finish, you did not win the league. You finished runner-up. Champions League, let's look at the Super Cup. Okay, runner-up. Yeah, it's a so-so competition anyway. I use that to try my players out. But the Champions League winners in 2018, and well, I guess you went to the finals, and I think basically what we want to do here is look at your systems, right? How do we prepare for the Champions League? Because you've kind of reached that point where every time you do a comparison, you don't compare against your league anymore. You got to do a comparison against other teams like Bayern Munich or all the other clubs, and that becomes very challenging because we don't always get the starting point right. By that I mean, how do you do the team comparison? So what I would do is, let's see, schedule. You've got the Champions League knockout rounds, Ajax, right? So you're gonna be scouting these players. So you probably have scouted them. Probably have. Brilliant. Okay. You can do it this way. This is one way of doing it to get the average out. The other way is, of course, to do send your scouts out to scout this team, and you do that from team reports. You can check the team depth chart. You need to request a member to compile a report on this team, so you'll have to send scouts out to do this. It's a very long-winded, long-ass way of doing it. And if you want to do that, then it's recommended, but there's an easier way of doing it. So how I normally do is I take I'm a player of shortcuts now. Gone are the days when I want to min-max the game. I don't want to min-max this game. By min-maxing the game, what I mean is I'm looking for every single advantage in the game. But when I start playing like that, I stop enjoying it. So you got positioning of 14. Basically, the range average, you can take the numbers, or you can just visually check it out. Camille Glick 17, but his acceleration, we know he's not a very fast player. So we've got 14, maybe 15 to beat. So that's your central defenders for Ajax Amsterdam. Nathan Ake is playing here. Wow. At the age of 28, Nathan Ake has made a move to Ajax Amsterdam. Okay, so well, I would definitely look at positioning for this, and then for the strikers and the midfielders, then we just look at midfielders and attackers. Then we can look at positioning, we can look at off the ball, fairly good off the ball for this team. Then we look at attack, just the attack players. Let me drop, because we want to know who the attacking players are. There will be one or two in midfield, but I typically just go here. Off the ball here, 15 again, and then we've got acceleration of 17, 12, 16, 15. I mean, Shoya, Nakajima. So what do you do next? You look at their tactics of the senior squad. So how have they been playing most of their games? Okay, one way of doing this is the hard ass, the really annoying way of doing this is to go to the senior schedule. Go and look at all the games. I would look at the Champions League Group E match against Manchester City. Very good indication of who they will be using in this game. Then if we go to the analysis, and then we will be able to take a look at the game and then plan accordingly. This is pretty interesting, because now we've got team analysis. We can look at the players who are playing. Naturally, we can go through all of this, do a team and basically do a deep detailed analysis, but I'm lazy. I don't want to do that. So what do? I'm actually looking for their formations. So I'm looking for the players they start with. You've got Smith, Chesson, Hendricks, Lucassen, and Birch. More interested in this player, Smith. Blank 17 speed. Then we go to another player, Cheng Tosin, 11 speed, off the ball running 15. Very okay. So basically, then I look at what I'm supposed to beat, right? So we got very quick competition in the Champions League. Then we're looking at Manchester City rather, again 17. So if I'm looking at the Champions League teams, right, 15 will put me on average for most of the, like, I'm breaking it down between the three attributes: defensive, positioning, and off the ball. Attacking. So the attacking players, I'll look at off the ball acceleration, and then I look at all the small little technicals just to get a good handle on them. So here we've got an attacking player. His off the ball is about 15. His acceleration is 12, so he's not that much of a danger. But look at this, his technicals are pretty good. So he's probably going to dribble the ball a lot. Play shots, looks for pass rather than attempt to score. So this player is going to be balanced a bit low. So on average, I'm looking at 15 as a number to beat teams like Manchester City and Ajax. That's just two teams. We can go further and look at other clubs as well, and like Monaco. Then we look, you see, he lost the game. Monaco, Ajax lost to Monaco, so this will be another good team to check out. So we can go to Monaco, look at the players again. Same thing, break them down and try and understand what they bring to the table. So this is one way of doing team comparison, right? The other way, of course, is to send the scouts out. They come back with a report. Not always the best, because you're gonna get scout reports, but you're not gonna get the information like positioning. So you make sure that you're scouting opposition, make sure you're scouting the competition, so that you can get as much information as you possibly can. So the number we're looking at is 15. All right, so we've got 15 as a number that we have to beat, and that's the baseline. So that is the lowest common denominator there. I mean, we have players who are 17 as well. We're talking about the key attributes once again, right? So don't think it's all the attributes, because people make this mistake. They think it's all the attributes. Now, every single attribute plays a part in the game. The problem is there is a kind of a mentals first, then it's physicals, and then it's technicals. I mean, that's my logic behind it. I keep it simple. I don't want to complicate things too much in this game. It's just too much drama. You overcomplicate things, and this way, you play like a regular person. Okay. All right. So we got these players. Now I'm looking at your defenders positioning. So we've got like 13, 13, 13, 14, 13. So we can see now your players, in terms of positioning versus the other teams off the ball, which is around 15, is going to be a slight problem. Okay, then we look at your midfielders. Two groups. We've got positioning of 13, 14, 13, 14, 12, 13. Okay, slight problem here. Then we're looking at support duties. Support duties, again, off the ball, 12, 13, 14, 12, 13, 14. Not many players can. So Porto may be strong domestically, but the average in the Champions League. Okay, you have some players, you want to leverage off certain areas of the game, right? So you want to leverage off your strengths. You're going to play to your strengths. So that becomes a very, very challenging thing. So we've got a couple of tactics. I'm not sure what you've been using. So we'll go back. We'll go last season. So you played last season. Champions League, knockout rounds, Manchester United. At home, you're rock solid. Away from home, you're not. I don't blame you, because now we look at the highlights. Right, so we got at home, Manchester United versus Porto. What were you using in terms of formation? How did you play against them? If you went out there against them with a 4-2-3-1, then it's like you're going. It's like two cars smashing into each other, right? So you're both playing the same way. Both of you are gonna. The team with better players is gonna win the day, right? So that's my personal thing anyway. So here we got 3 clear-cut chances from them. 1. I mean, I'm just looking at the raw information first. 24 8 shots on target. You had 8 shots on target, but only 1 clear-cut chance. And possession-wise, you didn't get to see much of the ball. In terms of passes, you tried to they had a better pass completion than you. Actually, we can make this even more interesting. We can add like passes from defense, passes from offense, passes from midfield. That information will give us an idea of how our other players did. So we got passes from defense. Your defense couldn't pull. Your defense was under pressure, 61%. Midfield, okay, 85%. When you get into the final third, you had issues with field penetration. This is what the numbers just tell me. Okay, so I'm not going to look in now. We go into the game. All right, so we go and look at comprehensive, because we want to see why your team struggles against European competition. So we got Manchester United. Now this formation visual is basically useless, right? There's a PKM indicator. It's just the end of the game what they what formation they play. So we got to look from the game itself to understand how the game was played. So Marshall plays number 10, cuts inside. Your players are tracking back, they're holding their position. You're inviting them in. Okay, that's one strategy to play. So you're not really pressing very high. Your mentality could have been standard, because I'm looking at your players drop back, drop back, drop back, drop back. Yep. So you okay. So if you're playing something like this, then you might have to, you're basically sitting back, right? So that's the highlights from the first few minutes. David Neres cuts inside. Wow, you got David Neres in Porto. I almost thought I was looking at Ajax. He plays it out to Vucic. Pretty solid. Okay, we go into this penetration. So your midfield possession, I go into penetration. That's when I see players like this moving into attacking positions. That's when I say this is a penetration phase. So if the Neres gets past this player, this becomes an assist, right? So he does, he gets it in. But it's not a very great one-on-one situation that you created. So you didn't overload. You didn't get a situation where David Neres was actually getting a lot of possession. Now, I want you to notice one thing. They're cutting through. They're cutting right easily into your half. Your boys are sitting. This is looks like a very standard mentality, which is one of the reasons why they're so tucked in. So they go all the way in, as you can see. A good block. I mean, if you're playing a low block, fine, that's great. But then question marks about how do you get the ball up. You know, you want to get the ball up quickly. So how do you play the low block? So do you want to play the low block? If you want to play the low block against a team like Manchester United, then you got to be prepared for a lot of shots on goal. Then you have to have players with jumping reach, positioning, heading, man, tackling hard on the flanks. It's even I don't like to play low block because my heart can't take that shit. So here we go. The boys are coming, as you can see. Yeah, so you got quite a number of players coming back. As you can see, literally, the whole team is behind the ball except for the striker. So fluid, most likely. You're defensive, got a lot of support duties in your team. So okay, highlights like this tell me it's not too bad. The problem with for you is when you do win the ball, how do you go through your transitions? Like I said earlier, when I look at the stats, I think your problem is in your final phase. So you got David Neres free, block, Griffiths puts the ball into the box. Okay, with a 4-2-3-1, you got so many options. Like if you notice how United was playing, they had one player, Martial, cutting inside half the time and then taking your players on and pulling, dragging them to him, right? Unlocking areas of the pitch, something that you might want to consider if you want to play a 4-2-3-1 like this. Here we go again. The ball comes back, closing down. Verratti to Bailey, then to Rashford. Good defending again. So your boys can play this game, but now it's a breakaway. You see, you guys can't do the counter. So just 16 minutes of this game shows me certain things about your system against Manchester. This is based on last season, right? So we are not going to focus. Okay, you might have other tactics in play, but we got 3 tactics here. We got 1, 2, 3. Man, it's a tough ask here. So, and what's my schedule like? So what do I have to work with? What games do I have? Do I have Manchester United on the horizon? My goodness, I have Ajax. There's a long way to go. So I'm gonna play against Belenenses, Guimarães, Braga. I mean, we can holiday mode these games and let the ass-man take over, and I can focus on Champions League. Maybe that might be an option. Yeah. Okay, so we got counter structured for this 4-3-2-1. We got 4-2-3-1 here, which playing counter highly structured. Now, when you play counter highly structured, it's a very basically the whole team is thinking about defending, right? So we got these guys all thinking about defending, closing down very high up the pitch, which is kind of like you're putting pressure on them. But you see, when you play counter highly structured, right? Low mentality, your defensive line is low. So even if these guys press, you don't win the second ball. So what's the point? So that's me, okay? That's my personal opinion. So what would I do? I would play it slightly differently. I would probably not tell them to press, right? So, and then I would tell them to take it easy. I'll tell these guys to tackle hard when they get the ball. Okay. All right. So these guys will tackle out when the ball comes into them. All right. And then to hit over the top. I'll turn one of these guys into a ball playing defender at the back, so he lumps one ball forward. That's one. We got a ball playing box to box midfielder. I'm gonna turn this guy instead into Carrerello. So we get a double pivot in midfield. Okay, so I mean, this is not really a double pivot because we got DLP on defense, but we got a Carrerello here holding the ball up. We got AP here. We got a complete forward running off on his own. We got AP trying to attack the middle. We got a winger going down this way. We got inside forward coming this way, supporting play. So essentially, I'm not overloading anywhere, right? So I'm trying to penetrate through the middle and releasing this guy. Okay, so what do we do? So we got AP here, get further forward, we got winger on attack. I'm actually thinking about all this on the go, so we'll give this a few days first before I come up with a plan. The thing is, the 4-2-3-1 is not a bad tactic. Defensively, it can be a solid tactic as well. The challenge for most people is coming up with their variations of a defensive tactic, an attacking tactic, or a camping tactic. So I've been asked this question before, so I'm going to do it here in this game. So I'm going to create, using the 4-2-3-1, several variations of the 4-2-3-1. I'm just gonna skip all this, and we will get ready for the next match. Team registration. I'm assuming that the team is fine. Champions League team registration. I'm just gonna pick your default team, and I'm not gonna change very much. So I'm gonna play a couple of different styles, and I'm going to change these on the fly. But what I will do is, for the purposes of this game changer video, otherwise it will be a massively long video, I'm going to take screenshots of those changes and stick them at the start. I think that might work. Yeah. FC Porto to register players or later stages. Okay, we'll just confirm this selection. Primera, like, I'll just confirm this registration. I'm assuming everybody's going to be the right players. That should take me past the registration window, and now if you have the transfer signings might be going. So in terms of training, how have you been doing things? I will assume everything is okay. Balance high. You've got quite a few days of match preparation. Defensive position against Bellany, Comares, Braga. Okay, we'll just do attacking movement for now. We got medium. I'm looking at your workloads for your team, whether or not the workloads are too high. Heavy, that's fine. Okay, we're not going to look at a youth team, but let's just, for the sake of it, let's look at a coaching team. Well, you've got players in, got Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Okay, so you're having fun. All right, I mean, I've got a lot of respect for this save. You've done quite a good job. The only thing now is, what do you do? Like, you know, okay, we're gonna work on only on that one tactic, the 4-2-3-1, right? So, discuss issue with Pickford. Sometimes, no, he wasn't the only leader in the team. Okay, you should be happy now. Pentaleb close to signing, except don't come to me again. Somebody, please be happy with these players. All right, okay, done deal. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna holiday mode right to the next match. All right, so we're coming to a period of time where I've got so many games in quick succession before the Champions League match, and our schedule is quite heavy, so I'm going to give the boys an extra day break. So they're going to get one rest day before match preparation begins, so that I want to try and mitigate any danger that my players get injured. Okay, so we've played our matches. We didn't do too badly. We beat Belenenses, we beat Gumares, we drew against Braga, and we had to do some quick changes against Ajax. When I realized that I probably wasn't paying a lot of respect to a team that is doing quite well in the Champions League. Because in the Champions League, Ajax are not a team to be taken lightly, because they've actually gone away to clubs like Man City and beaten them away 2-1. They've got a good result against Spartak Moscow. This is a group in which they dispatched, Monaco struggled to beat them at home 1-0. Man City also had a hard time against them. They couldn't beat Ajax. Monaco, one of the few teams that could beat them. So Ajax only lost once against Monaco. So this is a team that is fast and talented. So I went into this game and I did not know that. In fact, I became cocky. So let's talk about the three tactics that we came up with first. So we have basically created. You have your 4-3-2-1. So we left your 4-2-3-1. We left that to one side because personally, I don't like 4-2-3-1 to have a playmaker in the middle. It can work, but if you are an underdog, kind of your playmaker is going to run into traffic once in a while, right? He's going to run into a defensive midfielder. He's going to run into one of those kind of players, right? So I rather have my attacking playmaker not be in traffic, right? So I might have two playmakers, but at least one of them is going to be free. So he might drag their defensive midfielder out of position. So it's one of the reasons why I personally like to play playmakers on the flanks. Okay, so we've got your 4-5-1. We tweaked it slightly, so I'll just go through the changes first. We got close down more here. We've got a wing on support here. We close down more and tackle harder. We've got inside forward because you have the players for this. You've got quite a number of players who can play as an inside forward. I like using How Felix because he's right-footed. That means when he goes in, he's going to go in with his right foot. You also have this player called Andrea Pinamonte. So you got two very good choices as inside forward, and both of them cut inside from both wings. One of them does dribbling on the right flank, which I don't really care about unless if we play him on the right flank as a winger, he's an option on the right flank. But you've got one very, very crazy good young winger. So why? I mean, so we gotta think of options in our tactics. So here in this particular setup, we can use Pinamonte and we can use How Felix, both of them as inside forwards. However, we have a different version of the tactics. So we kind of like. I also noticed certain things about your team. Now, here we have like players right now in your team. You've got several players who bring very, very interesting things to the table. Okay. Now, yeah, Ubeda when we play Ubeda on the pitch in this position as a Mazala, okay, he behaves like a regular Mazala. You know, he takes the half spaces. He doesn't do anything crazy. We got lots of possession-centric systems. We can drive up to 60%. No, possession, not a problem. Then we at the back here we got DLP more direct, we got Carrillo close down more, we got wing back, we sit narrow, we got this fullback told him to hold position because of the Mazala. Ball playing defender will be looking over the top because he got this Speedy Gonzalez on the right flank. I mean, this guy is just so good. 15 acceleration. I mean, where did he come from? This guy is phenomenal. He's like a genius on wheels. Okay, this guy is so good. Then we've got Tierney Francis, Tierney wingback on this. You've done some phenomenal job in the transfer market. I swear to God, this is one of the best saves I've seen in a hell of a long time. Okay, the only downside in your save is your central defense. So you got Tierney here, left wing. Okay, now remember he gets forward whenever possible, so you can play him as a wingback on support. You don't have to play him as a wingback on attack. Right? He will get forward whenever possible. Remember that. That's the thing that he does. He dribbles with the ball as well. Now this is where you struggle because your central defenders, you don't have a lot of central defenders with jumping reach. So you gotta, when you go to Europe, you're gonna have major issues because a lot of the teams at home maybe not a problem, but when you go to Europe, you're gonna find teams that have got players who've got great jumping reach, right? You got Dolberg, for example, he jumps. I think his jumping reach is like 14 or 15, right? So he wins headers. So you're gonna have problems against players like that. Then you got other players as well. So I don't want to go through all these players, but you will have issues. So jumping reach 13 for one player. Then your other defender jumping reach of 15. And then if I go through the rest of your central defenders, you got 14 here, and that's it. For 14, 15, and 13. So it's something that your scouting department, you gotta put your scouting department of high alert for jumping reach of 16 now. You gotta go out there and find somebody. Now, so this is a setup. You also have a sweeper keeper. You tend to play higher tempo, right? It's like a mode that you play on where you go like, boom, I want to go higher tempo all the time. Now, tempo tends to tire a team out, increases the risk of injury. So what I like to do is treat tempo like a switch. I only use it when I want to. So that's something that you might want to consider. And you basically, in some of your matches, especially in Europe, you just kick the ball away. Your goalkeeper just does that, you know. So what I've done with your goalkeeper is we wanna play a game where you control control some element of the game. So here the sweeper keeper plays it short to the center backs, and then they do something with the ball. right? So especially you can do this in Portugal, no problem. You can play it well. But this is the brilliant thing about FM. Okay, you got Ubeda here. He's a Mazala. He does nothing special. Either foot, very good. Balance, fantastic. Holds the ball. He hardly ever loses the ball. Goes out the flank, probably drops it across once in a while. Okay, but here we got another player, Kevin Griffiths. With a change of players, you'll get a completely different play style. With this guy who gets into the opposition area, with that dribbling, he's going to take people on. He's going to be like Eden Hazard. He's going to dribble at players from that position. He's going to attack centrally. So this gives you a lot of options as well. So in some of your matches where you want to take defenders on, force them into yellow cards, stuff like that, Kevin Griffiths is a phenomenal option. So you've got quite a few players who can play this position. So you've got this player as well, so he can play there as well. So you've got this guy will. So you need to understand what those player traits do. Okay, so this is one version. Then we also got this 4-2-3-1. Now the 4-2-3-1, essentially you can still play with the same players. If you play with Kevin Griffiths, he can play here. But when he plays here, Kevin Griffiths becomes a real big annoyance because he's going to dribble, he's going to get into the opposition area again. So he's going to attack the box from this position. And you got How Felix. So tactic plays differently now. The attacking playmaker won't see so much of the ball because the moment the ball goes to Griffiths, Griffiths dribbles like he's a choo-choo train on fire. He takes people on, causes a lot of havoc. So you can even play Griffiths on the flank. Options. Now, what I like to do is I leave Griffiths here. He takes players on. Then, you can like leave him, right? Take him off. So you conserve him because how old is he? He's only like 20 years old. Then we got How Felix on the left flank. We can develop into a playmaker because he cuts inside from the left wing. He's got passing vision. He's got dribbling. He takes players on. Yeah, so his other attributes not that fantastic. So you can eventually train either Griffiths to be a playmaker. Then you can move him here. Griffiths will do the crazy stuff from the left flank. Okay, and now I got How Felix. So when you play Griffiths, How Felix doesn't see much of the ball. He does see enough, but he doesn't see a lot of the ball. So you get a lot of action going through the middle. Take Griffiths off. Put in Ubeda, you get a different play style altogether. Immediately, How Felix becomes the center of all attraction, and this guy sometimes overlaps. So, different play styles with different players. So this is something that I love about the system. I like about your boys. So here we got sit narrow at the back. We got sit narrow with these boys. Central defenders do nothing special. Goalkeeper, you start with more direct and distribute quickly. I would remove this immediately, and that's just hoofing the ball. So here we got Carrero, pass shorter, few risky passes, more direct, more risky passes, wing on attack. Wing on attack doing close down much more in the final third, complete forward, close down much more, tackle harder, and attacking playmaker on the left flank to attract people. Then Griffiths, if he plays, he's a havoc through the middle. Otherwise, you can play other players here like Vucic and what's his name? There's another player. Now, I would definitely always start with him in midfield. Zialo is your playmaker extraordinaire. Never not play him. So this guy is muchos important in your tactic. Okay, so we played these two tactics, we did okay. But came Ajax, came Europe, and we had another problem. Against Ajax, we quickly fell a goal behind. I will show you the highlights in a short while. But I want to go through the tactics first so people get a good grip on what the tactics are. So against Ajax, I found that a lot of the teams were able to drop in crosses and put headers. So I decided to revert one of the greatest Portuguese systems I've ever come across. It's the Portuguese, I like to call this the Portuguese 4-3-3. Okay, because it's my bane. It's the one tactic I cannot play against in real life. Okay, if a tactic like this comes at me in Football Manager, I struggle. I will lose. Double DM systems are my weakness. Yeah, I just don't know how to handle them. And when I attack them, I tend to lose. So the more teams attack you, the worse it gets for them, because your counter attacks are devastating. And this is what we built on. You got Badoui, who's got fantastic potential to lead a counter attack. If he gets away, they are toast. Then you got this guy who can finish balls. Then you got this guy who can also do things with the ball. So you got a lot of options. Kevin Griffiths can be played here. Felix can be played here. You can even play Kevin Griffiths in the middle as a box-to-box midfielder. So many options with this particular setup, because this is going to wreak havoc. Okay. So we got again. So we asked him to get further forward. We asked him to get further forward, and so the reason why we want them to get further forward is so that when you have the ball, okay, they're slightly higher in the transition phase. Then we got a wing back on support, told to tackle harder, slightly. Because the reason why we want him to tackle harder, I quickly found out that this is the tactic I saved in the Ajax match, because they were coming down the flanks, they were getting easy crosses in. So I had to get these guys to play a bit more aggressively high up the pitch. So they were both told to close down much more and tackle harder. As a team instruction, we played on standard fluid. For that game, I played on standard fluid. You can play on control structure as well, but I didn't change the tempo. So this was the setup of the tactic that I used against Ajax. So now let's take a look at some of the action that happened. Now, the first game against Belenenses, we'll take a look at the highlights. Essentially, I want you to notice Griffiths, because this is the player that was the one that I was very interested in. So this is the Porto formation. Then you can see our three midfielders. This is Griffiths. He's playing as the Mazzala. So he takes everybody on, and he runs like a choo-choo train. Sorry, I can't remember where Griffiths was playing actually. So we were either using the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-5-1, and then we started early. We scored the opening goal. Our second match was against Mares. So in this match, we used Griffiths in that position, and he was doing his runs through the middle. But, after about 19 minutes, I decided I wanted to save him for the match against Ajax, and we took him off. But the complete forward did a really good job in dragging players away for us to score our opening goal against Guimarães. In, I think, the 19th minute, I took Mr. Griffiths off. Yes, you can see he's no longer there. I played Vujic. Now, Vujic is a different kind of a player. He doesn't dribble at players. So he kind of links play up really well, and then we had more control over this game, and we were basically using this tactic the way it was meant to be, which is to carve out teams slowly, looking for opportunities to score goals. When I'm looking at the defensive transitions, it's pretty good, because your boys can come back and defend. Now we go Vucic going wide, and then we got our second goal. And here, generally, I found that your team can use both these tactics, home and away, in Portugal without too much of a fuss. You'll probably be able to down most of the sides. The only other reason why you probably wouldn't be doing that is because you might be rotating your players. Because on our next match, we drew against Braga, simply because we decided to rotate our players. In the second half, I used your tactic. I swapped to the 4-2-3-1 that you had. I didn't like it very much because of the playmaker in the middle. So I actually didn't use that tactic against Ajax. The final score for this match was 4-1. Against Ajax, we started the game with a 4-2-3-1. Right? Ajax eventually had a player sent off. We did get off to a good start, taking the lead with the 4-2-3-1. But then it didn't take long for Ajax to get a goal back. Now, that came off a cross, but generally, I think in an attacking sense, your players did quite well. There was a lot of good transitions involving your players from defense to attack, and Badui here showing how his acceleration can be a major problem for a lot of teams. Svensson played this to Birch, and this is Glick down the flanks to Karamo dropping it across. This was the first sign. I realized very quickly, if I played with this system and they get their crosses in, we're going to have a problem. So what did I do? I changed the tactic to the Portuguese diamond. This is when we came up with we started using the Portuguese diamond. Now, the Portuguese diamond was a quick change because now I got two players in the middle. It's harder for them to build play up, but on the counter, we are very dangerous. So we struck the post the first time. And then again, when we are defending, we transition the ball very quickly. A lot of their players they get into trouble because we got players like Badui on one side of the flank. He's running at players, and we got one of their players sent off. Second, what did I do after that? I kind of went to standard fluid to get more players into the transitions, but also to keep players behind the ball. And we pulled it out to 2-1, and we got ourselves that 2-1 win against Ajax away from home, which is I would think that was a good result. Defensively, no problems. Once again, though, I think that generally with your team, you're gonna have to deal with the crossing problem, because the only way I could make it hard for them to find a target inside the box was basically to play a system where you have more players defending inside the box when those kind of things happen. So the deep 4-2-3-1 gives me that option. So final score for this match, 2-1. We beat them. Overall, I think the players played well. So this is how I would recommend you play with the systems. So you've got your 4-2-3-1, which I assume you want to play because you like it a lot, because you got so many versions of 4-2-3-1s in your game. You got so I created this. I recommend you use the Portuguese 4-3-3. I call this the Portuguese 4-3-3. I don't care what other people call it, but this is what I always remember this to be the bane of my life. Okay, and then we've got the 4-5-1. The 4-5-1 is pretty cool because this is the tactic that's going to unleash this speed demon across the pitch. And he can play Pinamonte here. So you got lots of options. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Game Changer and you found it useful. I want to thank all my patrons that continue to support this channel. You make these kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys keep me going. So you guys take care. Have a good one. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.